Everyone thinks the fall of a 233-year-old bank must be a complex, multi-faceted conspiracy. They are wrong. The truth behind Barings Bank's spectacular collapse in 1995 boils down to a single, audacious trader, Nick Leeson, and a dangerous cocktail of unchecked power, lax oversight, and speculative derivatives. A cautionary tale that continues to resonate through financial history, proving that even institutions built on centuries of trust can crumble overnight. Barings Bank, founded in 1762, was a pillar of British finance. It financed the Napoleonic Wars, underwrote the Louisiana Purchase, and advised Queen Victoria. Its reputation was impeccable, its history vast. This venerable institution, however, was about to meet its match in a young, ambitious futures trader with a knack for concealment. Nick Leeson arrived in Singapore in 1992, tasked with setting up Barings' new futures trading operation on the Singapore International Monetary Exchange, or SIMEX. His role was dual-hatted. He was both a trader and the head of back-office settlements, a critical conflict of interest that would later prove catastrophic. Leeson's initial success was remarkable. He was generating significant profits for Barings through arbitrage, exploiting small price differences between the Tokyo and Singapore markets. His reputation within the bank grew quickly, fueled by these apparent wins and his confident demeanor. But beneath this facade of success, a dangerous game was already underway. Early losses, stemming from a rogue trade by one of his junior employees, were hidden in a newly created error account, 88,888. This account, ostensibly for settling mistakes, became Leeson's secret vault for concealing mounting liabilities. The initial losses in account 88,888 were relatively small, but Leeson felt immense pressure to recover them without alerting London. He began to make unauthorized, increasingly risky speculative trades, betting heavily on the direction of the Nikkei 225 stock index. His strategy was essentially a double down. Derivatives, specifically futures and options, were the instruments of his downfall. These complex financial contracts derived their value from an underlying asset, like a stock index. While useful for hedging risk, they can also be used for highly leveraged speculation, amplifying both gains and losses exponentially. Leeson's strategy was primarily to sell straddles and strangles options strategies that profit when the market remains stable. If the market moved too much in either direction, his losses would be significant. He was, in essence, betting on market tranquility. By 1994, the losses in account 88,888 had swelled to an alarming degree, far beyond anything Barings' management could have imagined. Leeson continued to conceal them through a combination of forged documents, misleading reports, and the sheer trust placed in him. The conflict of interest embedded in his dual role made this possible. As a trader, he initiated the trades. As the back-office head, he confirmed them and handled their settlement. There was no independent oversight, no effective separation of duties, a fundamental breach of internal controls. Then came January 17, 1995. A devastating earthquake struck Kobe, Japan. The Nikkei 225 index plummeted. Leeson's bets on market stability were obliterated. He desperately tried to reverse his fortunes, doubling down again, buying vast quantities of Nikkei futures. He was essentially attempting to prop up the market single-handedly, believing that a rebound was imminent. This desperate gamble required ever-increasing margins, which Barings, unaware of the true liabilities, continued to fund, believing they were supporting legitimate client trades. The bank's London headquarters only saw the margin calls as signs of a highly active, profitable trading book. No one asked why one trader needed such enormous liquidity, or why his reported profits seemed disconnected from the underlying market volatility. By the third week of February, the situation was untenable. Leeson's cumulative losses had reached £827 million, roughly $1.4 billion at the time. This was double Barings' available trading capital. The bank was insolvent. On February 23, 1995, Nick Leeson fled Singapore, leaving behind a note confessing to his actions. His departure triggered a frantic scramble at Barings as the true scale of the disaster finally became apparent. The venerable institution was finished. Despite attempts to orchestrate a rescue, Barings Bank was declared insolvent on February 26, 1995. It was subsequently sold to ING for a symbolic £1. A 233-year legacy wiped out by the actions of one individual and a systemic failure of risk management. Leeson was eventually apprehended in Germany and extradited to Singapore, where he was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. His story became a stark lesson in the dangers of unchecked power, the allure of quick gains, and the critical importance of robust financial controls. The collapse of Barings Bank wasn't just a corporate failure. It was a human drama, a cautionary tale echoing through the corridors of finance. It underscored that no institution, however ancient or revered, is immune to the human element of ambition, deception, and the catastrophic consequences of neglecting foundational principles of risk management. Explore another tale of ambition and downfall in our next deep dive into financial history.